Hello. So I can't do that. I can't I can't close the screen to open a different app. Now I've made that clear. I've made that clear. It's okay. So there was just a little there were some speakers and some chants and stuff happening. I've shown you some of the signs here. There he is. There he is. It's Rob doing shoe leather reporting. Oh, there's Hayat. I'm going to go find her. You know, I think I saw the stories about the encampment going up this weekend. You know, we've been talking about this a lot, so I wanted to make sure I could come down and get a look, maybe see if we can talk to some people. I'm also very leery about not wanting to like stick cameras or mics in people's faces, start getting them to hoot and holler about stuff. How's it going, Hayat?
It's good, it's good. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
We got Hayat.
That
Hayat
was a
with
little
us.
crazy, oh my god.
That's okay. You look like a revolutionary. It's good. It's good. So how long have you said you started coming down over the weekend when the barricades started going up? The encampment started going up?
So I came right when it was set up, which was, I think it was Saturday, when the barricades were not up at the time because it was still like newly established. But yeah, I've been here so far. I guess it's been like 2 nights now. But it's been going good. As of right now, it's like the encampment's like fully enclosed. And we have things in place where we have like one entrance and one exit. But yeah, it's good. It's been very cold at night though. So I've been, so it's just blankets and prayers right now.
And so far, no, like you were saying, no signs of like police. There were, despite the rumors that were going around earlier, that seemed to have gone out to both the media and the people here.
Yeah, so there was some kind of like false report that riot cops were going to show up this morning. So I've been up since 6 a.m. and kind of just like making sure that the enclosure is like as in place as possible, basically. And we got really spooked because the media also showed up like as like full army. That's what scared us, because we were like, oh, like they're gonna come. If they got the tip, that means like they're basically just gonna show and record us getting like our asses kicked, basically. And so, but then they left. So we're like, oh, okay. If they're not gonna get their juicy little like I don't know, viral moment, they're not gonna be around. So they're not here anymore. But Rob is here. Yeah. So
that's right.
Rob on the scene.
Exactly. Shoe leather reporting.
Shoe leather reporting.
I should get one of those hats. The hats when it says press.
Oh yeah.
It says press in the the brim there.
Maybe?
Yeah, exactly. That would be a good look for me. No, it's cool. I'm glad we could come get a look at it. Yeah. And show folks, what's been going on over here. Mm-hmm. He's on campus to talk us through all this. That's exactly. We reported the news. We reported the goddamn news. That's right. And also what's cool about this, too, is that, like, it's like a coalition of McGill and Concordia students. It's not this, like, factional school thing, right? It's like there's students, because there's not really I went to Concordia, and there's not really a campus really to occupy, except unless you went to Loyola. So
exactly. Yeah, because Concordia's quote-unquote campus is not really a campus. It's kind of just like buildings downtown. So we don't have I don't even think we have a field other than like the Loyola campus, but nobody's trying to go over there. And so one of the things too is that last year Concordia University already put in a vote to divest. And it was approved by the student body, and it's like quote unquote put through, but there hasn't been actual like transparency about the university and what they actually fund. Interesting enough, Concordia's like transparency right now is much tougher than McGill's, because McGill's is more just blatant, like they don't care. So this is a coalition between McGill students, Concordia students, and UQAM. There are UQAM students here, but there also is an encampment going on at UQAM as well. And so we've basically are all here to essentially help McGill students to divest from their university, because I think we had mentioned this the last time I was on, where McGill students also put together like a vote to boycott, a BDS vote and like an anti-apartheid vote, and for the McGill to also release like a full report on what they also like fund as well. And this Palestinian Student Solidarity Group was kicked off of campus. They threatened to even disband their own student union for even daring to put together a vote, which I said before, like I've never seen that before, which is interesting because it's like, crazy. If a university can disband like the student representation on campus, I guess it's not really a union at all, really. It's just kind of there for show. Yeah. But
at any time can just arbitrarily decide, okay, you've had enough of this activity.
Right.
Like,
and so the encampment really is kind of just like the last resort, and kind of showing the university, specifically McGill, that like we're determined and that we're serious, and that we're going to be here until, they, divest, basically.
Yeah.
I would definitely encourage everybody to go follow, I think it's McGill SBHR on Instagram and on Twitter, to keep updated to see what's been going on, because there's updates around that. And the demands are up there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's really cool. Have McGill changed their... Do they still have the same football team name, or have they worked on that, or did they change that? You know anything about that?
I have no clue. I'm very ignorant to what goes on McGill.
Yeah, well, me too. While we're talking about McGill's role, upholding systemic racism and apartheid, could have mentioned that.
Yeah. But yeah, Concordia doesn't have like a little lawn like this, so typically when I want to like sit somewhere after classes, I come here and like...
Yeah.
Because they're not that far, Concordia and McGill. The Concordia's downtown campus, at least. There's another campus that I've never been to, and I have no idea where.
That's the Loyola campus. That's out in NDG. Yeah. No one wants to occupy that.
No. I think the university would rather us occupy that because it's completely out of the way.
Yeah, just get out of the way. Yeah. Just stop bothering everybody. Yeah. No, it's funny you mentioned like the thing about the BDS on McGill, because there's an infamous Trudeau tweet from like 2014. I think I mentioned it, where he's like, really? This kind of anti-Semitism has no place on McGill campus. As a Montrealer, I'm offended or whatever by the fact that like BDS. I mean, this is I think one of the things that we've talked a lot about over the years. Like as long as I've been paying attention to this issue, that like there's no form of protest for Palestine that is acceptable. You can't talk about boycotting and divesting, these non-violent kinds of protests, sit-ins, encampments, teach-ins. It turns out it's just all frowned upon. It's all anti-Semitic, and you just can't do it. So it's just, I think that contributed to the boiling point that it got to, where that October 7th kind of was the spark that led to this current moment. But I think that's the thing that I've tried to like reiterate to people. That's like Palestinians and their allies in the West and elsewhere have been trying desperately for like a long time to talk about this in the right way. Yeah. And at every single step, it's been demonized and vilified and all kinds of dirt thrown at it. And like this is a central part of how the Israel lobby even works. Like they focus intensely on college campuses and university campuses, and taking any of these moments and trying to fearmonger and create these moral panics about anti-Semitism and stuff. So it's all of that has led to this boiling point where this is where we get to, where I think students have like realized over the years that like this is really the only kind of course of action that's really left, is to kind of take this kind of forcible stand. Like this is a direct result of the way other forms of protest have been delegitimized, right?
Yeah. And like, to be clear, like there are Jewish students and comrades that are among us. Like just yesterday we had a Passover celebration that was beautiful, and that was done, and the history of Passover was, shared to us and everything. So like I was even reading I haven't been on the TL as much as I would like. I am my phone also keeps dying, so anyways. But what's interesting is that like I saw like politicians, mayors randomly were out here accusing us of being like quote unquote anti-Semitic and stuff like that, and it's just like I don't understand. Or like we were actually specifically accused of chanting like slogans that were like anti-Semitic, which I don't know what that means. If we were chanting Free Palestine, I literally don't know.
That is anti-Semitic,
right?
To say that, so.
But it's just wild to me because it's just like I don't know. Like it's just clear that there is a collaboration here. There's solidarity here, regardless of whether you're Palestinian, Muslim, Jewish, Christian. regardless of even like, anyways, and it's just like wild to me that there are still people out there that are continuing to push the narrative that like we're here for anti-Semitic reasons and stuff. It's just, I don't know at this point, because I was having a conversation with someone about it where it was like the ADL has like this system in place where they quote unquote track anti-Semitism and stuff, and I went and looked, and it's like they're quite literally including, because like let's just say for the sake of their argument they think River to the Sea is anti-Semitic because they think that like we just want whatever. But then they included the phrase "Free Palestine" as an anti-Semitic slogan. Yeah. So it really just it means like what? We can't talk about Palestine in a way that they think that is acceptable. Yeah. Just talking about Palestine in and of itself is unacceptable to them.
No, those like anti-Semitism enforcers are like, or the anti-Semitism monitors, what there actually are is Zionism enforcers, basically. Right. This is the only form of like acceptable speech when it comes to Israel, is saying Israel has the right to defend itself. And that's all. And I believe in a two-state solution, even though that option has long ago stopped being a possibility due to Israel's own actions, and like they've specifically said. Did you see Columbia put out the actual school put out a statement today? Did you see that today? So they're planning on they're saying this has to stop. Yeah.
They put out a line saying that we will not divest. However, these are the following things we will do. And I'm like, that's not.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Well, I think that's the amazing thing about this moment, though, right now, Hayat, is it's just it feels like there's this breaking point coming. Mm-hmm. The students now, you hear the rhetoric coming from students at Columbia and elsewhere, and they're dug in. They're not backing down. Yeah. You can send in cops, and they don't seem to be too afraid of that. Mm-hmm. They have very clear demands, and they're very clear that they're not going to be intimidated. And now you have these powerful forces with either academia or the state or whatever trying to go and do what they can to stop them, but there's getting to this moment where these two things are kind of coming into conflict. These students are not just going to say, okay, well, we give it our best shot. Yeah. It's time to go home now. Yeah. A lot of them, from what I'm hearing, they seem to be in it for the long haul. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that ends up playing out.
Yeah. There are professors that are also among us as well. And I think the whole apparatus of universities are just there is going to be reaching a very severe boiling point, because even if, let's just say you're a professor that perhaps didn't really have much of a dog in the fight, but you see your students are getting brutalized, you got brutalized yourself, they're gonna how are you able to slam a tenured professor to the ground because they were just trying to stand in support of their they're gonna be I don't know. I was just having a conversation with someone about it. They're like, these professors are going to go up to their, administration and be like, you fucking slammed me to the ground for fucking, Israel? Really? That's
Well, I saw there was that woman, I can't remember the school, but she was, being thrown to the ground in Hammerlock. She's like, I'm an economics professor. She's like, what the fuck's going on? It's amazing. So, there's even, like you said, even professors, not even, radicals, but, people that have basic decency are like,
I don't want to see my students get brutalized by police.
Exactly.
It's wild. So it's not just going to be it's not going to be a question that needs to be answered by the administration from students, but it also be professors as well and people within the community. The community that we're kind of involved with has been gracious enough to donate food and warm blankets for us, and I just want to take a moment to thank them. I'm using those blankets, so
it's got to be chilly.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
Okay. All right, well, we can just go walk around and look around a little bit more.
All right, I'm going to go back inside, but...
Okay.
I will see you. Bye, everybody.
Say bye to the chat. Okay. See you. Say goodbye to Hayat. Thanks again, Hayat. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. It's Hayat. Hayat, everyone. So I'm just walking through the edge of the encampment here. Show some more of the signs. I like this Abba Justin le Génocidaire. Look at this guy. More like true dope, if you ask me. Sorry if that's too harsh. We're not doing the bits, okay? I'm trying to be serious here. I'm trying to do serious journalism here. Okay? I even saw Metal Dipshit resubscribed for 36 months. I don't even want to mention the badge, anything about that stuff. Even though I'm very thankful for the resub, and Anon as well. I saw Anon gifted a sub. Thanks, Anon, as well. You know what? I'm going to do the thanks afterwards. It feels really crass. It feels really crass to be thanking people for gifted subs while I'm trying to do actual serious journalism here. Again, let's just drop it with the badges, okay? No, I cannot go to Rotisserie Ramados after. That's kind of far. It's in the other side, other part of town. I'm sorry. I'm not embarrassed by the community. That's not true. Okay. So you can see there's some other students just hanging out here. You know, this is very chill. This is, as we've been talking about, this is the exact kind of like student activism that's been going on in universities for a variety of different causes over the years. Which a lot of times these schools will take credit for, such as Columbia. They'll talk about, you know, Columbia's long legacy and history of promoting this kind of activism and this kind of important debate. They'll acknowledge that they were wrong in previous years to treat student activists the way they did, whether they were anti-Vietnam protesters or anti-apartheid protesters or whatever it is. And while they're simultaneously trying to kind of like absorb this kind of radical history and fold it into their current sort of status quo and take credit for it and brag about it. And then they're shutting down or doing everything that they can to shut down and delegitimize these movements when they're currently happening today. I see some kind of possible commotion. Some kind of a commotion. I'm going to go check it out.
It's a Zionist troll.
We got some kind of a Zionist troll situation, I'm hearing. Word on the street. I think we have like a Montreal shy Davidi wannabe over here. The primary victim. The primary victim. Oh, he's walking away. Uh-oh. Some guy was having a little temper tantrum. Of course, you see all the news. There's a bunch of cameras like following this one person around. You can see him out there. Now they're giving him some FaceTime. I'm gonna go check it out. Oh no, he's taking off. He's going away. Off-brand shy Davide. He just doesn't have that dog in him. You have to have that zero capacity for embarrassment. Zero shame or capacity for embarrassment at all. In order to be a real head, a real one, like the real shy Davidas of the world. His work here is done. Headline Newsnight, some guy feels sad because of the encampment. Well, maybe that's Liberal Party MP Anthony Housefather. As soon as this motherfucker heard that this encampment was even being put up in the first place, started having a panic attack, a panicked meltdown, on Twitter. Just the very idea that it's happening just makes this man so upset. It makes him so upset. You know what doesn't make him upset? Tens of thousands of dead kids. That actually, Anthony House Father's actually okay with that. He's okay with that part. The dead kids are okay, but I'm going to draw the line at students' intents. We can't have that. You know, we can't have that. Does he have a son? That's right. I have a son! Oh my goodness! My son sleeping peacefully in New York City is in danger. He's in danger by all this.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
But Soros bought the tents. That's right. It's like while we're defending everyone from anti-Semitism, we're going to blame every single thing on George Soros. The anti-Semitism defenders have logged on. How his father's taken to bed like it's a case of the vapors. He saw this encampment going up. He said, "Honey, where's my fainting couch? I need my fainting couch. I've got a severe case of the vapors." Couldn't be that a bunch of broke college students went to Amazon and searched for all the cheapest tents. Well, that's the thing. I mean, personally, I, of course, was brought to Iran. I was brought to Iran where I went through some intensive training, some Hamas-sponsored training. But I don't think, logistically, I don't think it's possible to do that with tens of thousands of college kids. Like, yet me, yes. Me, of course, yes, I did do that, but I don't think it would be possible to for all of the students that are involved in this to be doing that kind of thing. Montreal journalists wearing New Era hats and eating expensive nuts. The expensive nuts. Well, that's the thing. It's like when you go to these encampments, you have to live in a bag or a barrel, and you're not allowed to eat, of course. When you're eating or drinking or you're comfortable in any way, that's a big problem. That's evidence that there's some kind of mass coordination going on here. We can't have that. It gives poor people have fridges, energy, and flat screen TVs. Always with the flat screen TVs. God, these fucking poor people. They're all going out and getting fridges and flat screen TVs. Can you believe this? Can you believe these folks? And iPhones. Exactly. Very scary. Very scary stuff. College means zero money and zero nuts. Got some more signs here. Some cool signs. Why make us read Saeed if you don't want us to use it? This is also the kind of shit that Shai Davidi was looking at, being like, America needs to see this. The world needs to see this. It's some people sitting on the ground, sir. It's some people sitting on the ground. You're going to be okay. You're going to be all right, I promise. I'm trying to be, cognizant about not just sticking a camera in people's faces and trying to be respectful of people's privacy and not contributing to that at all. I could probably talk to some other people as well. Shai's on the phone with Biden right now. Ask him to nuke Montreal. Exactly. I didn't want this. I didn't want this. My hand was forced by these students being intense. They're intense and they're sitting on the ground. My hand was forced. I probably can't do this for that long. I don't have data on my phone. Like, this is all just data that I'm apparently going to be paying for. I've never done one of these IRL streams before. I had no idea how it worked. I just kind of thought that I would check it out today. It felt important to come down here. I'm not using Prism, I'm just using the Twitch built-in.
In his wife's eyes, there's a terrifying question that has been there a long time. And even the cold is less unforgiving than the terrible question. If he enters, she will say to him, planting her palms into the dough and her eyes into his, have you found work? What will we eat then? How was so-and-so able to get work here? How was so-and-so able to get work there? Then she will point to Abdurrahman, curled up in the corner of the tent like a miserable wet cat, and shake her head in a silence harsher than 1,000 reproaches. What will he have to say to her tonight other than what he says every night? Do you want me to steal to solve Abdurrahman's problem? He stood up straight in a second of panting silence, then hunched over the broken shovel again.
I kind of want to approach and see if I can go inside the encampment, but at the same time I feel a little weird about it. I don't want to make, come in and be like, yeah, I'm Mr. Big Time Streamer. Can I come in and just start I don't know what that is, but start walking around and sticking a microphone in people's faces and stuff. People are really leery as well about the way that the media's been acting, trying to get catch people off guard, get people in trouble, saying certain things. Surely they all know who you are. Well, and I'm wearing my Palestine hoodie today too as well, but really anyone could wear one of these. You could be a total asshole and just put one on one of these hoodies. So, I believe they call that OPSEC, basic OPSEC. Show them my podcasts. Thank you. I can pull the whole Will Ferrell. I'm kind of a big deal. I'm sure that's going to make everyone feel very comfortable if I do that. It's anti-mullet discrimination. It is looking pretty. Look at that. Look at that. You're an elite Canadian blogger. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. It's kind of alarming. Black-clad fellow there. Going inside. I guess he's connected with the encampment because he's going right in, but everyone's kind of Hey, excuse me. Do you mind if I ask you some questions for a live stream? Are you interested in talking? Or it's with me. I don't know. It's just me.
Sure.
Rob.
Sure, but I might not be able to speak too much. But
that's okay. I was just wondering, what brought you to the encampment today?
So the encampment today is firstly in solidarity with the people of Gaza, who are enduring right now a genocide at the hands of the Zionist regime. And so we are here to demand from our university to divest the at least $20 million that they send to companies that are complicit in the genocide and occupation of the Palestinian people. This includes companies that are weapons manufacturers. This includes companies that are construction contractors for the Israeli occupation. And we are demanding that our university does that. We voted a referendum with 80% of the student body voting for divestment, for the policy against genocide in Palestine, and boycotting all Israeli institutions from our university. We voted on it. We got it passed. However, the policy was not ratified due to the administration getting involved and also outside organizations getting involved. And so we are here to say that we have voted democratically, and we are here and we're not leaving until complete divestment, because that is the will of the students, that is the democratic will of the students, and we're not going anywhere until that happens.
Have you seen, some of the messages on refugee tents in Rafah, and there's been protests in Yemen and messages of solidarity with the students here in the West, in the United States, in this encampment here? How does that make you feel from the people that are in the encampment today to see the way that this kind of like worldwide student movement is starting to connect with people in the region and in the West and kind of forge these kind of bonds?
So obviously it's very empowering to see. For the last 7 months, we've been organizing, we've been mobilizing, but it is very empowering to see that the movement being across the US and across Turtle Island and across the world, because they even started encampments in Paris, they've done it in Australia and so on. It's very empowering. It's very good to see, especially when it comes from Gaza itself. We know that we're being heard there, but we're not doing enough. I just want to remind that we are doing here this first for solidarity with Gaza, and then second with solidarity with the student movement abroad, the broader student movement. This is how a lot of social movements have started, and this is how the fire gets started, and the revolution is here, and it is now.
That's great. Thank you so much for talking to me. Do you want to give your name, or is it better not to?
No, it's okay.
No problem.
Thank you.
Take it easy. Take care. Thank you for talking to me. There you go. A nice gentleman. I think I might have met that guy. I don't know. I can't remember. Seemed cool. I mean, everyone that I've talked to here seems very cool. It's been really inspiring over the last week or so to see this movement really start to catch fire. And I was wondering if we were going to be able to see something like that in Canada or in Montreal. I know there's been a lot of talk that, not all the students are here right now because of the schedule and everything. So just the very fact that this encampment has popped up, I think, is really inspiring. Like I was saying earlier, it's a coalition between students from around this city. Concordia students, who don't really have a space to occupy or a lawn to occupy. McGill students, UQAM. It's really cool to see all these students come together and have the McGill students offer them a spot on their campus to take part in this protest encampment. Very cool stuff. And very concrete demands as well. Whether you're talking about here in McGill or in Columbia or elsewhere, very concrete demands about these schools' complicity, right? It's not just about Free Palestine. It's specifically talking about these institutions of higher education and their complicity in funding companies that manufacture weapons that's used in this genocide. There's a deep tie between these academic institutions and Israel. That's why this kind of campus activism happens. That's why we see it so much. Very reasonable demands. And it's the students pay tuition. This also gets lost. It gets lost on the free speech brigade people that all of a sudden decide that in this particular speech they don't really support it. The students pay tuition to the schools. Sometimes a high amount of tuition. And it's totally reasonable for these students to start making these kinds of demands. It's their money. That's how these universities operate. It's their money. It's totally 100% reasonable and legitimate to start making not requests, but demands about how these universities spend the vast amounts of money that they get from the students. I was told it's because they don't give these kids enough homework and they aren't busy enough, so they just sit on their asses in tents. That's, of course, yeah. Of course. Or like I saw the Nate Silver take today as well. Nate Silver being like, oh, they don't even know what's going on. They don't even know what's going on. They're just doing it because it's cool. You know who knows what's cool? You know who knows exactly what like young people are into? Fucking Nate Silver. Oh yeah, this guy really is plugged into these youth movements about what's cool and what's not cool. Thank you, Nate Silver, you fucking dork. But like, again, you go and talk to anyone that's part of these encampments, and they're extremely well informed. They're extremely knowledgeable, not just about Israel, Palestine, Gaza, but the way that this struggle is connected to other social movements, anti-racism and anti-imperialism, you know? These students, they're certainly more plugged into and cognizant of and articulate and more aware of this stuff than I was when I was a 21-year-old kid from Brockville, Ontario, going to school. Yeah, I was probably pretty ignorant. Anyone you talk to at these encampments are extremely knowledgeable and articulate about all of this stuff. Some douchebag professor at NYU wrote an article in the Post that the reason students are protesting Israel is because they're not having enough sex. I mean, this is like boomers telling on themselves, right? Like, just because this is what they were doing in the 60s, and now they're all bragging, even though they all became these like dipshit Reaganites. They all brag about how they participated in these social movements in the 60s. So it's just telling on themselves, right? It's like every accusation a confession. When that NYU professor says that kind of thing, he's just totally giving himself away. Like, yeah, maybe that's why you were involved in this kind of like phony activism when you were young, and that you ended up totally selling out. But again, that's just totally projection. And again, it's this boomer generation that lectures everyone about their high-minded moral values and their radical activism in their past. It's these very people that are the first people to see these encampments popping up and be like, no, call the cops. Get the cops out here. It's the same people. The same people. They're so proud of their radical past. Even Joe Biden, like, if you ask any of these people in this goddamn generation, we made the Civil Rights Act, we ended racism, we ended the Vietnam War. It's like, no, you did not. No, you did not. And yeah, of course, there was a radical brand of activism, especially around Vietnam. But the people that won the Vietnam War were the Viet Cong, the Vietnamese people. There were some inspiring protest movements here in the West, including on university campuses, such as Columbia. I don't want to downplay that. Of course there were. But this entire generation now has kind of taken credit for this. They've taken credit for this and used it to like boost their own resumes. Boosted their own credentials. That's why these kids are complaining today. We ended the Vietnam War. No, you did not. Even the Chicago 8 turned into venture capitalists. Yeah, it's like these people are not. It's something else. Like the way that whole generation has been sort of like sanctified. You know? Really pathetic people. And that's it. I think that generation is a perfect example of the way that kind of like campus radicalism doesn't necessarily translate to this big revolutionary change in your society. That even though there was this kind of element of like campus radicalism that was involved in that movement, in either the Vietnam War movement or the anti-apartheid movement, these people all became fucking Reaganites. They all moved to the suburbs and started voting for like tough on crime legislation. You know, the same people. So I think that's one of, like, as a sort of outside observer, journalist, analyst, whatever it is, it's going to be the interesting thing about this moment. You know, is this generation, here's the difference though. This generation can't really be bought off because everything has gotten worse. You know, the boomer generation, they at least could go get a fucking home. They at least lived in a livable environment, ecosystem, right? Like, this generation does not have that. This generation is like, okay, now I'm gonna move on from this radical campus trend and go and become some kind of like big shot. Like, no, that option is just increasingly not available to people. So that's why this does feel a little bit different, and it feels, hopefully, like this is a growing movement that's not just going to be co-opted and used to churn out the next generation of like neoliberal automatons. But like overall, as you can see, this is like a very peaceful. As much as the fear mongering that we've seen, I saw like I was talking about Anthony. I cannot stand this guy, Anthony Housefather. God damn. Every time I think about him now, I just get upset. But this man was like immediately fear mongering this stuff. As soon as these encampments went up, oh, this is not allowed. You got to get the police. It's illegal. It's against campus regulation I-76C.2, whatever it is. And you actually come here, and it's very chill. It's very peaceful. Like we're seeing in the United States, if there is violence that happens, it's because armed militarized cops are forcing their way into these encampments and going and attacking people and turning them into violent standoffs between students and cops. You see, prior to any police being here, and we'll see how this develops, prior to any police getting here, this is a extremely peaceful gathering of people and students, you know, that are against genocide. You know? Like that's what it's about. And if anything does develop into that, it's going to be because of the possibility of state violence and you know, cops rolling into these situations and escalating them. What else is going on? I have no idea how much like battery I have. What are we going on? Okay, still doing okay. Using a lot of data. I'm using a lot of data, which is probably going to be something I'm going to have to address if I'm going to do more of these kinds of on-the-ground reporting kind of things that we're doing here. Hey, excuse me. Did I meet you at that mixer the other day?
I was gonna come up to you like, is that Rob Rousseau?
Yeah, that's me. Do you want to talk, or I'm on the stream right now? Do you want to talk?
Hey, I'm here with the link. I'm here with student media at Concordia. I'm Matthew, spaced out of time on Instagram. I don't know if I should plug myself or not.
You can plug. That's fine.
This guy, he's really cool. I met him at a mixer once.
Oh, stop it.
And very impressive journalist. Real journalism happening, right?
That's why I hope so. That's the aim. How long have you been here today?
How long have I been here? I think I've been here for about maybe 2-3 hours now.
Okay.
Showed up. I wanted to come here like a few days ago, but I was sick, quote unquote. I was hungover.
It happens.
And I felt guilty. I was like, I have to do something. I keep seeing this on the news. I was watching a bunch of the universities in the U.S. to make similar encampments, and I was curious as to how they were covering it, how like a lot of the student media on those universities were covering it. And I was like, I would love to have a go around and try to do something of my own. And I guess thankfully I have the opportunity now.
Yeah. Well, it's been cool to see this encampment go up because it's made international news, because it's like, oh, this movement is like crossing the borders now. Like, now it's in Canada. We're seeing it in like Australia, New Zealand, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people that have been paying attention specifically to this campus right now at McGill, because it's kind of evidence that this movement is growing and kind of catching fire and bringing in more and more students from different countries and backgrounds from all over the world.
Australia has been very interesting to watch. Like a lot of mobilization in like Melbourne, I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I've been following like kind of progressively like every single part of, like not every single part, but like a lot of the universities around the world since like the fall. I mean, it's been huge. Like it's been a lot more than I was expecting. Even on Concordia's campus here. Concordia is known like we're like a woke school, right? Like,
yeah.
So
well, there's no real campus to occupy, but still,
yeah,
Concordia
exactly.
student activists don't fuck around when it comes to
really
Palestine.
Don't. When I was covering like the tuition hikes over there, because at some point I was covering the tuition hikes that were like the strikes that were going on. It's insane how much mobilization there is just like within the halls of that one university. And I think the fact that it's like a joint like, encampment now between both universities is like a big help, big plus.
Yeah,
that's what I've noticed so far.
Very cool. Well, good to run into you again, man.
Yeah, good running to you, you too, bro.
Thanks for the cameo.
Of course.
Yeah, I'll see you around. I'll maybe come back as things progress. I keep checking it out. The chat loves the live IRL streaming.
Do they really?
Doing real journalism.
Yeah, maybe I should do that for going forward for like student media. I should do live.
It's good. You should try it. Yeah, and talking about some serious stuff instead of all the wacky nonsense that I'm talking about in my office every day. Okay. Well, I'll see you around, man. Take care. Thanks again. Real on the ground journalism, folks. That's right. Real on the ground journalism over here. Now, this is the goddamn news. We reported the news. How's the sound and everything? Is it all right? Who's that guy? That was Nick, I believe, who I met at a independent media mixer thing the other day. He works for the Link at Concordia. Very cool guy. Sound is better than the office. Fantastic. I love that, actually. God damn it. Well, honestly, now that I'm used to doing this a bit more, I can do more IRL stuff, but I'm going to need... God, I can't wear one of those backpacks, can I? Can I wear a streamer backpack? I can't do that, can I? I don't think so. I don't think I could do that. But there will be I'll have to come up with some kind of solution about how that's going to work exactly. Probably need a battery pack as well. Should you do a live hit at the Korean grocery in your head? I should. I can take you guys shopping with me one day. We're going to need a longer mic. I need one of those tiny little mics, don't I? Those tiny little Bob Barker mics. We got some families here and kids. Again, just like in case any of this gets twisted in the media or anything like that, like I can't stress enough how chill and peaceful and like good the vibes are here. We will see how this progresses as the days and possibly weeks go on, but you know, this is what the vibe is right now. Look at all this violent, scary situation. I know. Content warning for everyone. There's some people playing drums and sitting on the grass. Content warning. You can hear a drummer percussing the ideology into the youth. Oh my gosh. I know, this is absolutely terrifying. Terrifying situation. Good Lord. Oh, it's getting warmer too. It was quite chilly earlier and the sun's kind of out now. Very intimidating according to CBC. I didn't see what CBC said. I did see that, like, when I first got here, there was a number of, like, media outlets and people here. As I said, there seemed to be reports earlier today of some kind of, like, possible police presence, which I think the media got the memo for that as well. And as soon as it was clear that that was not going on, it seems like they all left. They're like, oh, we can't get any footage here. They all just kind of took off. Still, no, I don't see any so far. I see a couple of, like, McGill security guards. I don't see any police or any kind of police presence whatsoever. I know it's not my natural habitat. Look, I'm trying to make more of an effort, okay? I'm making more of an effort. I'm going out into the community, going out into the city. I'm really craving an energy drink, though, I'll tell you that much. The police are busy protecting Anthony Housefather. They're making sure he's not too sad. They're just calling to check in. Are you okay, sir? Are you crying? Are you crying right now? Is this encampment making you feel sad? Let's focus more on Anthony Housefather's feelings about this. I haven't heard enough about it, actually. Nice of Mr. Bezos to give you outside time. It's nice, yeah. It's nice. I have one of those, like, electric dog shock collars if I wander too far. If I wander too far, and Jeff's gonna shock me. What time is it? 3:30? Okay. Check in on your Zionist federal politicians. Exactly. We always have to remember to focus on the true victims. Okay? That's what's important right now. It's 3:30 and Rob doesn't have the EPs. It does help to be, like, outside and have some wind on my face. And have the sun in my face and not just be hunched over my fucking desk with my spine in an S shape, staring at myself in a screen for 4 hours a day. Turns out I'm actually, like, it's a little more invigorating when you move, you physically move around, get the blood flowing, that kind of stuff. Get that vitamin D, exactly. And if anyone does, I don't want to hit this stuff too hard. I feel weird about it. If you do want to support this content and this stream, please do. That's the only way that I can afford to kind of do this kind of work and this kind of journalism. If possible, please do support the work that I do. Anyone that does subscribe, I'll make sure to say thank you at a more appropriate time. I don't want to be sitting here, doing, thanking, like, Come Lord 420 for the gifted subs and stuff while I'm trying to do actual reporting on this important issue. I hope you understand. But if you do support the channel, I thank you in advance, and I will make sure to say thanks to every single person that contributes or supports the work that I do on here. Jesus Christ. I haven't been playing a lot of Helldivers Plunger Man because of the NBA playoffs. I've been watching a lot of hoops. Haven't got a chance to check out the new update as much. Huge game from Anthony Edwards for the T-Wolves last night. That was really something else. I can't even read some of these comments. There you can see the guy I was just talking to. Boo! Apparently they don't have a right to be here. Fuck that. It doesn't sound like they're going for it. Hey, how's it going? We found Hayat again.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
People have liked this. They like me getting out in the world and doing stuff. Yeah.
I am heading out, but I will be back. So.
Good.
Okay.
Well, I should probably be back too.
Okay.
This is kind of a test, so we'll see how it goes. But it doesn't seem like the students are going anywhere, so.
Nope.
I'm sure I hope there'll be more opportunities for me to come check it out.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
See you later.
All right. Bye, guys.
Hayat. Very cool. Very cool, that Hayat. Go around, see if I can get you a better view. Does this encampment have any official media presence on social media? I believe Hayat, when I was talking to her a little while ago, mentioned an account for peeps to follow. I don't know what it is offhand. Perhaps people in the chat can let me know. I know there is there is something. There is some official accounts, whether it's just PYM Montreal. I'm not sure. Divesting from genocide, another classic anti-Semitic trope. I mean, it's just absurd, isn't it? Like, we joke around, but like there are people legitimately, genuinely, unironically saying exactly that. Like, which maybe worked, for the last couple of decades. It worked just enough to prevent a movement like this from forming or exploding, but like those days are over now. Like this is what I think these people don't really understand. Those days where they can make these kinds of claims and just instantly shut down any of these movements, those days are over. And I think a lot of what we see from some of these folks is them kind of desperately flailing as they realize none of these kinds of arguments are convincing to anybody anymore. You know, it's not stopping this movement. It's not stopping these encampments. You can it doesn't matter what you say. They're trying everything. They've been trying everything for 6 months, and it's not working. So this is the kind of interesting thing about this moment. It's as painful and as horrifying as the last 6 months have been. And if you've been plugged into this, like we have for the last 6 months, it's been miserable to watch it unfold. But there's something happening right now. There's like a profound seismic tectonic shift that has happened. And I think that's something that at least should make people feel a lot more optimistic and a lot more hopeful. You know, I know it's making me feel a lot more optimistic and hopeful just to be here right now and to be around this movement, you know, peripherally. It's really an antidote to the horrors that we've all been witnessing over the last 6 months. We're in uncharted waters. The contradictions are heightening. The gears of history are turning. Like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, talking about the whole hippie generation. We don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know if this is going to recede like a lot of other social movements in the past, you know, or be co-opted or be dissipated. We don't know, but I think just there is a moment it feels right now. It's a moment that feels really pregnant with a lot of different possibilities, which is like really exciting. I think a lot of folks are thinking that the demos will go away once the semester ends. They don't realize how fun they are in the full summer. I think unquestionably it is going to be a proverbial long, hot summer. There's no escaping from that. A bit of the banners, yeah, no problem. I'll take you on one final tour. I've been on for an hour here. I've used like 4 gigs of data, which is probably more than I can afford to. So I'll probably say goodbye in a couple minutes. But this has been a cool test run to see if I can do these live shows. I hope people have appreciated it. Once again, if you can support the work that I do on here, please do. Every little bit helps me a lot and is much appreciated. Okay, I'm going to head towards the entrance to the campus now. This has been TRRS live from the McGill GAZA Solidarity Encampment. I hope you found this useful in some way. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow for a regular stream, which apparently sounds and looks worse from this live one that I've been doing. Thanks again, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.